we're going to talk about something very serious.
Your blooper DVD?
No, the G-20.
Oh, okay. Then maybe we should do it. You know, like, this is Oldecam.
Well, maybe we should show some reference because I mean, even First Lady Michelle Obama wore a suit. I think this is the first time I've seen her in a suit.
She dressed totally improper.
Wore a suit to meet the Queen, and of course it was a black suit.
Yeah.
Which
Okay, one of the reporters from England said specifically about either the Obamas are totally, they're either completely retarded or they're basically thumbing their nose at the people.
Well, and part of it is I guess they shouldn't feel bad because they've been continually doing this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you know, like with Russia or even the first president to Brown.
Yeah.
It's like.
Well, no, but one of them because
they have all advisors.
They are very big on protocol in foreign countries.
They're huge on protocol.
They're huge on it, and basically, I mean, Hillary Clinton, for instance, basically wears the pantsuits because they say, well, nobody wants to see her legs, so she can get away with it, but she will wear a dress at state functions and a very elegant dress for a person of her age and heft. But no, but they're. I can tell you one of the Afro reporters in Great Britain said this morning that Mr. Obama and his wife are everything. They exhibit every trait that white people consider to be bad in black people, and that's not the image that you're not supposed to present to the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping.
Well, he said he is. Well, we'll get to go for a second. But one of the reporters last night that was talking about him, first of all, said they don't understand what the big fuss is about Mr. Obama swinging to the left. He's never done anything to the middle in his life, and they know that he's not bipartisan and that he is mean, spiteful, and vengeful.
And that's coming from overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a history of it, and so there was no history of him ever doing anything. He's a Chicago politician. This is how he grew up.
And that's normal.
That's how you do it. You just go after people. I mean, they were created back in the 19th century, the Chicago style of politics. I mean, they do not understand in Chicago why it's wrong for a dead person not to vote 40 times. Go look at the Great McGinney. If you want to see a great movie demonstrating Chicago politics, go look for the Great McGinney, and
Come on, don't you think Chicago has changed by now?
No.
Oh yeah, well Blagojevich is getting indicted today anyway.
Yeah, but he forced the indictment. But no, but see, this all actually goes along with the global plan for recovery and reform because you know better than to believe what any of this is saying.
Well, and part of it is we do receive news sources from a variety of places. This we actually received. This was from a link from 10 Downing Street.
Yeah, and actually we do have Mountie Button Broadcasting.
And this is the Global Plan for Recovery and Reform, and there was a statement issued by the G-20 leaders on April 2nd.
Well, actually, there's a problem written before they ever got together.
I have a feeling that a problem.
Because there is no consensus from anybody. They can't even reach a consensus to have a consensus.
Well, actually, I just heard Obama say that what they needed to do was pull together and show their solidarity. The solidarity that they want to do something for the people.
The French.
Golly, does that sound like?
They said the French and the Germans have told him to take a hike. The head of the European Union has called him an imbecile.
Ooh.
So.
But those are usually.
The way it works is that almost all of those countries have destroyed their economies for doing the things that Mr. Obama is wanting the United States to do. And he wants these countries that have failed to go back to doing their failed policies.
Actually, I pulled a thing earlier this morning.
Because it works this way. Margaret Thatcher said that socialism ends when you run out of people to tax. They said they have ran out of great-grandchildren to tax in Europe now. So therefore you have to go capitalist.
Well, here's the economic crisis which is dominating the summit. And this is actually from the sources, the International Monetary Fund and the G-20. And it shows actually the different G-20 members.
Yep. They're all tanking. The whole world.
They're all tanking.
You know, the Chinese, which are basically, you know, the Chinese government is only successful because they sell stuff to the United States, and if the United States isn't buying,
yeah.
You know, okay, the perfect. I'll give you two examples how no matter what they're saying, our recession is not over and the stock market is phony as hell. Business layoffs have set an all-time record high.
Right.
In last month. Costco, which is an amazingly strong business, is basically closing stores because they can't. There's nobody. They're not doing business anymore, and they're selling bulk. If you're not buying bulk merchandise in a time when you need to buy bulk merchandise, it's because you don't have any money.
That would be good.
And you know, that's the whole trick. There is no money. The countries in Europe, they depend upon the United States to have an economy that works so that they can sell stuff to us because we don't manufacture much anymore.
Well, and this, I don't know exactly the date they figured this, but at the time the unemployment rate in the U.S. was at 8.1%.
And pushing towards 10.
Which is higher now.
Yep.
And Europe, the EU is all around 8% too at the same time. My guess is it's pushing close to ours. South Korea has 21.9%.
Yep.
I mean,
and they are an industrial, they're an electronics industrial giant.
And China has 4.5%. Russia, it says 6.6%. Now, since the U.S. figures are old and behind, right, I'm presuming that it also goes with everybody else's figures by the time they tabulated all this.
Yep.
Now, here's the funny thing is, when it came to Russia, they used to talk about full employment over there.
Yeah.
And I used to laugh because full employment, I saw them, this was in college, marking the streets.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna laugh. Remember those white lines down the street where the guy was painting it, and then they would have all these guys in the street guarding it, so that nobody would walk over, or the cars would drive over it while it was drying.
And in other words, like an American union job. Yeah.
They're guarding the paint, right?
No.
But anyway.
No, but the Chinese one too. We know for a fact that China's basically they're shuttering factories over there because the Americans aren't buying anything.
Yeah, actually.
And that means they said the employment rate in China is probably twice what it is in the United States, but they just simply, you know, but what it is, they'll throw their military in as being employed.
Wow.
And government workers and all of that, but still, if the employment rate is massive, we aren't buying, but...
And they are very tied to ours because we do have so much goods made in China that are brought over here to the United States. But on the global plan for recovery...
I know, basically, if I had BS out, you know, we know who wrote this piece. We face the greatest challenge to the world economy in modern history.
That didn't come.
That had to be written by Obama's writers because nobody out there agrees that this is the worst crisis of modern history.
Oh, I know why, because it says the greatest challenge.
You know, but it's words. Mr. Obama is a person that uses words. Basically, you change that around. We face the greatest crisis to the world economy in modern history. That's just all taken from one of his campaign speeches.
That sounds like it, doesn't it?
That's right. Look, most of this. This is from his budget. We start from the belief that prosperity is indivisible.
Oh my gosh!
With the you know, this is all from his campaign speech, folks.
And this is what from the. Oh, this is funny.
I know.
See, because you're just seeing this. I pulled this off from 10 Downing Street.
Yeah, but if you look at it, it is nothing more than a Barack Obama campaign speech that they supposedly agreed to.
Here's the meaty points.
Where
they were talking about $1.1 trillion to help the world.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
Yeah, they're going to pledge it. Like the pledges that we're going to get help in Afghanistan, the pledges that they were going to help rebuild, Iraq. Those are pledges that never actually happened because, they don't have any money. It's like the pledge that Mr. Obama made that we're going to cover the warranties on all the cars, and that the pledge that the General Motors has that we're going to cover your car costs for 9 months to 2 years. It's like everybody's broke. You don't have the money to pay to do any of that stuff.
Oh, wait a minute. They did have $250 billion of support for trade finance and to use additional resources from the agreed IMF, the International Monetary Fund.
That's where they're putting
gold cells for concessional finance for the poorest countries.